Big Daddy Safari Clinic is open now. Sorry, I've been in the sun too long today, I think.
So this is the state of the boat right now.
A lot more secure and a lot easier to access. I mean, this is as easy as it gets. Keep up, Jay. All right. Boom. Done.
A little bit chaotic, but what can you do? We're leaving soon.
Hi, my name is Kenna, and this is Jay. We live aboard our Choi Lee Offshore 41. Her name is Sitka. Currently, we are sailing and exploring our beautiful home here on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. I'm new to sailing, but I'm learning and loving it more and more each day. Jay, on the other hand, was born a salty sailor. As he takes me under his wing to get ready to sail around the world, join us on our adventure of falling in love with the beauty of life and the wonders of each other. Welcome to the story of us, and welcome to Sailing Sitka.
I always say I don't want a bigger boat. I wouldn't want it. It would be way more maintenance. It would be more of a nuisance. But it's times like these that sometimes a little bit more space would be nice. So this is the state of the boat right now. We are cleaning out this V-berth completely. This is the most emptied I've ever seen. Jay is building a rack kind of system here to store a lot of this crap because we just have it pushed up against the hull there, and yeah, we don't quite like how we're storing everything. It's just kind of jumbled in there and not quite organized to our liking. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a mess. We have the rudder of the wind vane in the room, along with the material I'm going to be sewing the stack pack for, or like the sail cover for the mizzen, along with Wilfred's head there. Yeah, so a little bit chaotic, but what can you do? We're leaving soon.
All right, so as you can see, this is a mess. So this is everything that was piled behind this door in the V-berth. And as we're about to go offshore, we kind of need to secure this. And I was gonna build some custom shelving thing. And then I figured maybe that's the kind of thing that sometimes it's better off to just buy already made, because it ends up being a lot cheaper and also saves you quite a bit of time. Sorry, it's quite dark in here. So that's what I did. I looked up on Canadian Tire, which is a local hardware store here in Canada, and I found these guys, which is exactly what I needed. So I'm gonna be mounting those like here. I got 3 of those, and those were $6.99, and I mean, they're aluminum, they're painted, so they won't rust, they're lightweight, they're already pre-drilled. I mean, this is as easy as it gets. They're not the prettiest thing, but it's gonna serve its purpose, and none of these things we're doing in here are permanent, so we don't want to spend too much money or time, as we will be redoing this entire cabin at some point when we have the money and the time to do it properly. Until then, it'll just be like a 1 bed and storage. So, but when we do have the time and money, we want to do what we did in our cabin. So we're gonna insulate the hull. Even though we're going to be down south, it works, insulation works both ways, right? So it makes it cooler when it's warm and it makes it hotter when it's cold. So we're going to do that, as we have big plans for Sitka. So we're going to insulate it, and then we'll just do cedar stripping like we did in our aft cabin there and in the quarter berth, as it's cheap, it's lightweight, and it looks actually really pretty, and it's a lighter wood. And then we'll do like hardwood trim and stuff. And I think I'm going to go to a solid deck head. None of this stupid liner thing. I'm not a big fan of that. I honestly prefer having a hard deck head and having through bolts like this. It gives you access to the bolts when they do leak, because it's not a if, it's a when. Anyway, it has a boat nose that everything will leak at some point. It might take 10 years, it might take 20, but at some point it's going to leak, and you're going to need to address it. You might need to remove it to install something else. And when you have a liner to remove, it just makes the task so much more daunting. I know it's not as pretty, but there's ways of making it. I don't mind that look. To me, it's sailboat bling. I don't care. And throughout the years of owning boats, I've come to the realization and to terms with the fact that I want to use my boat. It's not a show boat. Like, I obviously want it to be pretty as one can possibly make your boat and homey, but there also needs to be a balance between being nice and also being, useful and being, you know, a boat that we can take out in a heartbeat. And that's kind of what we want for Sitka, not just for our upcoming offshore, but just when we're cruising down the Sea of Cortez. We don't want to have to spend an hour securing things for sea and all that stuff. We want to be like pretty much ready to go. And that's why I've added things like throughout the boat over the years, like for example, these little retaining walls, like all this I added just so we can keep things out. This stuff, these little walls here. I just dropped this plywood and scratched my varnish here. I gotta stop moving around like an idiot. All right, so I'm in the V-berth. I just finished putting everything back. I mean, it's not exactly how it's gonna be 100% when we're leaving offshore, but I think it's pretty decent. It's a lot better than it used to be. So now we have all the vertical stuff here on these racks. I also added like a few bungee cords just to keep things a little bit more secured. Obviously this wind vane would be on the back of the boat, so it won't be there kind of thing. There's also a few little things that won't be there. Example, the rudder for the hydro vane also. The material on the racks though we will keep, so we have this plastic that we put down when we do boat work. We got extra Sunbrella, the beige color. We have black Sunbrella that's in the quarter berth right now because Kenna's about to sew some stack pack. Well, not some, one stack pack for the mizzen. We also have fiberglass, which I think every boat made out of it should have some, as it's very useful. Here we have a million fuzzy blankets and pillows, and that's for whoever is staying in this cabin. Plus we have fuzzy blankets for pretty much everybody, so on watch you get to stay warm, and if one gets wet then you have a spare one. It's a bit annoying to carry, but it makes quality of life aboard, especially on long passages when it's cold, a lot better. Another thing I did here is I strapped down my 2 fishing rods. Thank you to Jimmy for giving me one fishing rod, and a huge thanks also to Ryan who gave me the other one, and also gave me his old spear gun, which I'm very looking forward to use in the Sea of Cortez. You will meet both of these people. Well, you've met Jimmy in a previous episode, and I'm sure he's going to come down visit in Mexico, and you're going to meet Ryan for sure. He's one of my really good friends, one of my best buddies, traveled all of Asia with him. He also is a boater now, so he just bought his 3rd sailboat, offshore sailboat, so he's going to be a year behind us, but I'm sure he's going to catch up to us in Mexico, so that's pretty cool. And then we store 3 cushions here that are basically what goes down on this table when we put it down to turn into a big lounge area. So the table goes down on that little lip that you see all around, and then these cushions fill that void and makes a giant basically cuddle puddle. And then we have our little seats that we use for when we're at the bow or at the helm or at the beach. So that's pretty much it, what we store in here. We're also going to be storing Harry, our 3rd crew member. So Harry's going to be stored in this V-berth. We're going to lash him for sea. So now he'll be sleeping basically in this bunk. It's kind of hard to film, but it is a lot bigger than what it seems on camera. There's a platform here. That wood piece goes down on here, and then that cushion goes on top and then turns into a double. The problem with it is that whoever designed this was an absolute coconut of the highest order, because the door goes past where the wood is. So basically if the bed is made, you can't open the door or close it. It has to be closed to make the bed, and then you have to undo the bed to get out. So kind of not the best solution here. Obviously for fire and for just usage, period. It's kind of dumb. So I'll be modifying that. I won't bore you with the details right now, but I think it's safe to say that we can now add to this a nice check mark. Oh, not this one. Keep up, Jay. All right, boom, done. So now we have all these other ones that we need to still do here. That's the list I read off, I think, last week for you guys. I also have it on my phone. So anyways, see you, Nora.
I wanted to show you what I made for Jay's birthday. It's still in the process. It's literally tomorrow, Friday the 19th. And I'm not quite finished it yet, but I'm going to power through. I lied and said I need to go run errands, and that I don't. I'm literally just going to go do this in my car because I don't have the room or the area or privacy to do it in the boat without him seeing. So that's my adventure today, but I'm going to show you what I'm making. So it's a cross stitch of Sitka. And so yet I have to do the blue here, and that's about it. I did it from scratch, so there's probably some technical parts to it that are wrong, but I tried my best. That literally just came out of my head of what Sitka looks like. So I hope he loves it.
All right, so this little jerry can oak holder here has gotten 3 coats of Cetal, so now it's time to put the stuff back on. I used to use a bunch of random ropes to tie it. It's still gonna be random ropes, but I'm gonna cut them to size, whip the ends and make them pretty, so I can just use an alpine hitch, so it makes it quite convenient to untie basically when we want to use it, and it's not like a nightmare of like unlashing every single one to just get to one jerry can. So I'm gonna try to make it so that all the waters are kind of together on one rope and then all the fuel stuff on another rope, so it's a little more convenient when it comes time to use it. So that's what I'll be doing. So I got all these jerry cans to put. So we got 3 23 liters water ones, so 6 gallons each, and then we have 2 diesel ones, the yellow ones, and we have a gas one which is already pre-mixed with oil in it, and that's for a 2-stroke outboard for bush tit, or trusty dinghy. And then this is the lines I'll be using, and whipping twine and lighters and knives and tape and all the stuff I need to do some whipping. So let's get going. All right, so this is what it looks like. So we have 1 lashing for the water cans and Henry's gas, and then we have 1 lashing for the diesel and bush tits gas, and then we have 1 top rope that's pretty slack right now just to keep them from bouncing up and down. But yeah, I think that's going to be a lot more secure and a lot easier to access, and it's all the same color, so it looks a little less ghetto. So yeah, just did a bunch of whipping, and now I'm gonna do a line that's gonna tie bush tit, and also I gotta rig the spinnaker pole. So what I normally tend to do is I clamp it down, the spinnaker pole, the jaw on here where my toes are, and then I tie the top at an angle on here. So that's what we're doing. All right, well, there you have it. Bush tit is secured here, and we'll also secure it forward using these the attach points we're actually going to use for our jack straps. Not our jack straps, Jay. What am I trying to say? Jack lines. For our jack lines. So sorry, I've been in the sun too long today, I think. But yeah, all this is lashed basically, so it's easy to undo. It's just alpine hitches and bowlines and hitches, so it's tight, it's easily undone. In a panic when you need to use stuff, it's a lot better than a million knots and lines that are too long to whip. So that's it. All right, so first of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Sarah, our neighbor, who took the time yesterday to come and sit down with us and basically write a bunch of prescriptions to build our medical kit. I'd like to also thank my buddy Alex, who's a doctor who lives on his boat up in Comox, who's prescribed a portion of this stuff, and then the rest was from Sarah. So huge thanks to both of you, because without you guys, like, this would have not happened. So this is what we got so far for a medical kit on Sitka. So there's quite a bit of stuff. We keep it in a dry bag under the bed, and my thinking of that is it's obviously dry, it's in a dry bag, it's dark, so away from sunlight, and it's kind of stays at a average temperature because it is right at the underwater, so it stays at whatever temperature the water is. And yes, water temperature does fluctuate as you go south, but a lot less rapidly than the air. So my thinking is that it's probably better for the medication. I don't know, I ain't a doctor, but I could be. Big Daddy Safari Clinic is open now. But yeah, so we got a lot of stuff here. We are going to have another sit down with Sarah where we go through like the medications, like the ones that I haven't seen before. Like, I'm familiar with a couple of them. Like, me and Ken are both first aid qualified, so that does help, but that doesn't make us experts by any means. The pharmacy, which is good, provided us like with pretty much all the paperwork for every single medication that's in there, so that helps. But I'm gonna make myself a chart basically that's color coded for like this problem, these are the medication you want, this problem, these are the medications, these are the common side effects, this is what to do in case this happens, blah blah blah. It's kind of how my brain works, so I'm gonna try to do that to keep us safe. I also have a good first aid book, which is the military one, but it is pretty good here, the military reference guide for first aid. It goes through pretty much every scenario that could happen, especially when you're away from medical assistance and you have to use things that are at your disposal. So whether you're in the forest or in the middle of the ocean, sometimes you don't have the best of everything and you don't have the availability of, you know, stretchers and so forth. So you have to improvise. And yeah, the good thing is we got tools, so I could build pretty much anything. And then we got the medication, hopefully, to keep us alive. Me and Kenna are both people who don't take medication. I haven't taken anything in 10 years. So hopefully it stays that way, but it's always better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So anyways, once again, huge thanks to Sarah and huge thanks to Alex for helping us out with this. And I feel a lot better having this kit on board, that's for sure. So thank you for watching, and if you guys want us to go maybe more in detail as to what we have exactly on board for medical stuff and then why we chose to have that on board, maybe we can do a little chit chat there on Patreon once we get that going for you guys. And I can make the list available to anyone. I think it could be helpful to anybody. I did, honestly, full disclosure, not made the list myself. I took it from the internet, from somebody that has a lot more experience in the medical field and who also does sail offshore. So I figured it'd be a good starting point, and we added a few things to that and took away some things because obviously I'm in my early 30s and Kenna's in her 20s, so there's things that are not as important for us to have on board that would be maybe if you're later in your years and you're in your 70s, for example. So you obviously want to tailor that to your own personal needs, but for us, this is plenty, I hope. But anyways, enough rambling on. Like I say, short story long. Let's go. All right, so here's our medical kit. So it's all in a dry bag. So, and if God forbid we're in the event where we need to abandon ship and get in our dinghy, we can grab this in our grab bag, and that way we have a lot of medical supplies as well as the food, water, and other life-saving essentials like something to make a solar still. If you don't have that in your grab bag, I would highly recommend putting that in there. It will save you in a heartbeat if you're in the shit. So anyways, this is what we got. If you guys do have grab bags on your boat, if you guys watching are sailors, it would be awesome if you guys put your most important thing that you have in there that you'd think other people might not have in there. Because obviously I think a lot of people have like the common stuff, but if you have something that might be a little out there that maybe other people wouldn't think about, maybe put that in the comment and it could help us and maybe somebody else. So cheers.
Happy birthday!
Kenna knows me too well, so my safety glasses, if you've been following along, I bought some and they came without an arm, so she got me some nice safe ones that are comfortable. And a tool that I've wanted for a while. See this? There's Jaws of Life. This is useful for like rudder and shaft jobs a lot of times. It's gonna come in handy. These are gonna come in handy. And then this cool thing that I found in an antique store, but I didn't want to buy it for myself. But now we have it, and it's super rad.
It's a Japanese.
It's a Japanese float tag, basically. So it's just like what marks like fishing nets or fishing buoys. And we're probably gonna mount it here so that the bell doesn't. This will hit this piece, and it looks really rad, and it really fits with our little Asian theme here since the boat was made in Hong Kong. So
I know it's sailboat bag.
Sailboat bag.
And the last present. The reason why I'm filming is because they know I've been doing this.
What?
They know I've been making this. I cross-stitched Sitka.
No, you did not. You did this?
Yeah.
When the hell did you do this?
You know when I've been leaving for like whole days on end is because I would just go to a park and cross-stitch all day. It took me a week. And I did it from the design of my head, so I didn't have a diagram to go off of or anything, so some things might be technically wrong, but...
Hun, no, it's perfect. Hun, that's so cool. We're epoxying this on the boat.
Did you show them?
That's so rad.
I Sitka.
If your girlfriend doesn't cross-stitch your boat for you, she don't love you. Dump her.